Thanks. Is this a great night or what? Really? If you don't feel proud to be a trial lawyer tonight, then what night would it be? In 1735, John Peter Zenger, a printer in New York, was arrested for libel, for printing a piece of journalism which criticized the then governor of New York for abolishing juries. John Peter Zenger and his supporters turned to the finest lawyer in the land, Andrew Hamilton, a Philadelphia lawyer. And that case, in which he proved that truth is a defense and that there will be freedom of speech in this land, cemented his legacy as the greatest lawyer of his generation. Over the last 250 years, there have been debates about who was the greatest lawyer of their generation. In the 1800s, was it William Rawle, who founded Rawle and Henderson, or Horace Binney, who represented the First and Second Bank of the United States, and Girard College? In the early to mid-1900s, was it George Wharton Pepper, a law professor and U.S. Senator, or William Schneider, the founder of the present Schneider firm, who literally wrote the Uniform Commercial Code? In the past 50 years, was it Cecil B. Moore, the civil rights and criminal lawyer, or Leon Higginbotham, the intellectual giant, or Juanita Kidd Stout, one of the great first women lawyers here, or Bernie Siegel, who argued 50 cases in front of the United States Supreme Court, or the great Jim Beasley? You could argue either way. But in this generation, there is no doubt. And the greatest lawyer and trial lawyer of our generation is tonight's nominee. I get extra time for the applause parts, by the way. So how do you determine greatness? I think we probably start with achievement. Tom Klein has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and I bet you closing in on $1,000 million, 7-figure and 8-figure verdicts. I know, don't even try to do the math. His $36.5 million settlement in federal court is the largest settlement for a death of a worker in U.S. history. His verdict against SEPTA is the largest against a transportation company in Pennsylvania history. His verdict on behalf of a girl who had her leg amputated is the largest in Bucks County history. He was the architect of the multi-billion-dollar Vioxx settlement and took the most difficult depositions in that case along with his partner, Shane Inspector. He is a member of the 500 leading lawyers in America, which isn't even as good as being a member of the 100-person inner circle of advocates, which is the single most exclusive 100-person club other than the United States Senate. And he is the only lawyer in America who, in the super lawyers rankings, has been the #1 lawyer in his state for 13 years in a row. 13 years in a row. "13 bleeping years in a row." Are you kidding me? Our greatest lawyers are our greatest advocates. And Tom has been the most outstanding advocate of our generation. Perhaps we have not seen any advocacy better than his advocacy on behalf of victim 5 in the Sandusky abuse case. Because he was an advocate not only for him, but for every sexual abuse victim, male or female, in the United States. He stood up for him, and he stood up for them. I watched his advocacy as he worked behind the scenes with AAJ to have the draconian cap on damages against Amtrak raised from $200 to $295 million for those people, with the brilliant and best appellate lawyer in Pennsylvania, Chip Becker, who is standing right here. But having the most significant achievements and being the best advocate is not why we give the Musmanno Award. The Musmanno Award is based on 5 factors, and I want to talk about them tonight. Integrity, protecting human rights, courage, scholarship, and imagination. Let's talk about integrity. I saw some of Tom's competitors, defense lawyers out there, Dan and Don particularly. And I think it says a lot that they are here tonight, and other lawyers that he competes against day in, day out, year in, year out, to honor him, because that's the type of lawyer he is. 13 years at Super Lawyers. You want to know why? Because people like him and they trust him. And when Tom talks, people believe him. And that's why attorneys listen, and that's why judges listen, and that's why juries listen. He is a square shooter who, when he gives you his word, you could take it to the bank, because that's how Tom Klein is. 4 U.S. senators have trusted him to chair the Federal Judicial Nominating Committee, which is why the Eastern District of Pennsylvania has the single best federal trial bench in the United States. When we started, the personal injury practice was vilified, scorned, and Tom has brought us out of the shadows and into the limelight because of his honesty, because of his honor, because of his dignity, because of his elegance, and because of his class. Another Musmanno criteria is the preservation and protection of human rights. Dylan wrote and sang, "So many roads, so much at stake, so many dead ends. I'm at the edge of the lake. Sometimes I wonder what it's going to take to find dignity." And what it takes to find dignity is to find Tom Klein as your lawyer. For 40 years, he has fought for the victims and their rights, their civil rights, their personal rights, in a country that is based upon the premise that no man or woman should be denied due process of law, and nobody should be denied life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness. It has taken many forms. The Hall v. SEPTA case stands as one of the crowning achievements, not because of the number, but because part of that was to make escalators safe for every Philadelphia citizen who travels on public transportation. Sam Cooke, in response to Dylan's "Blowin' in the Wind," wrote a song called "A Change Is Gonna Come." It's been a long time coming, and a change is gonna come. And last week, the Third Circuit, in a civil rights case brought by Tom Klein regarding a young child that was kidnapped, raped, and murdered issued a clarion civil rights opinion, and the change, in fact, has come, and it's because of Tom Klein. He has stood up and not shied away from handling difficult cases and difficult causes. His work in challenging the sovereign immunity cap, although unsuccessful, was an extraordinary effort on behalf of every citizen in Pennsylvania. And let me tell you something. It ain't over yet. Just wait. The guy is not perfect. Let's start with his eating habits. To call him a finicky eater would probably be an understatement. I am shocked that tonight's dinner menu was not half a wedge, dry, bacon, steak, nothing on it, extra ketchup. The guy loves to be on television. According to his website, he has been on 1,000 different TV programs. In fact, ABC News is here tonight. And it's tough to take. I'm in bed, and he's on Action News. I wake up in bed, it's the morning, he's on Fox News. So I told Meredith, I can't take this anymore. I need to relax. And I turned on the Phillies. Tom Klein and Shane Inspector have been on television in Phillies games more than any Philly in the last 10 years. Chooch is only on half an inning. They are on every inning. So I said to myself, I can't take the Phillies anymore. So I turned on the Sixers, and Tom's next to the bench, and he's coaching the other team. And they're winning 80% of the time, which is his whole plan, because he's got a Yiddish cup. And he knows that if we crashed and burned, we would end up with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Trust the process. So I finally said, I can't take it anymore. So I'm going to go to a Flyers game. There's no way the attorneys are going to intrude into the Flyers game. And I walk into the Wells Fargo Arena, and the first thing I hear is, hi, I'm Len Lundy of Lundy Law. So I was trying to find the link between Michael Musmanno and Bob Dylan and Tom Klein. Zach and I talked about this, and there is. Michael Musmanno, Bob Dylan, and Tom Klein were all born in mining towns. And that may seem insignificant to you, but it's not from people who grew up there. There is a groundedness that they have. There is a part of that life that seeps into the very fabric of your soul. And it influences who you are, what you feel, and what you do. Tom and Bob Dylan have always been linked in my mind, the two Jewish intellectual genius poets of their generation. I wrote down on my notes, as I told Zach, next line, storytellers. And that's what trial lawyers are. They are storytellers. And Tom has been a storyteller about social responsibility and accountability. Dylan, an incredible storyteller, resonating with the same themes. In fact, there was a law review article done on what musical artists have been cited most frequently in legal opinions. And Dylan, of course, was first. Second, Springsteen. Imagination is one of the other elements of the Musmanno Award. I think what I admire most about Tom is his imagination. For those of us who've seen trial as theater, it's taking the practice of law of trial advocacy to another level. Those who have gone to Dylan and the law know that as well. In North Country Blues, Dylan wrote regarding a widow of a miner who'd been killed in the mines. Then one morning's wake, the bed was bare, and eyes left alone with 3 children. For those of us who have been privileged and honored to hear Tom Klein give a closing in a death case and heard his description of the empty pillow at night and the empty chair at the kitchen table, it is a direct link to Dylan and to storytelling. In A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, Dylan wrote and sang, and I'll tell it and think it and speak it and breathe it and reflect it from the mountain so all soul can see it. And Tom Klein has been reflecting truth from the mountain as a preacher and a teacher ever since. If you want to know what Tom Klein's imagination is like, you only need to listen for 2 minutes to his closing statement in the Slaughter case.
And what I ask you to do, please, I beg you, is to indulge me in the last 2 minutes of his life. Where is Mommy? Where is Daddy? Where is Greg? What's happening? Somebody help me. Someone is choking me. My chest hurts. I need air. I can't breathe. They cannot hear me. Where is that man that gave me the swim test? Where is the lifeguard? Will someone rescue me? My friends will miss me. How long can I hold my breath? If I breathe, will it be okay? Will I ever see my baby brother? I'll never go to college, just like Mommy. My card, do you have it, Mom? Daddy, when can we cook? Coach Tony Jackson would save me if he could. Mommy taught me to pray. Daddy, tell me the last joke, please. Daddy, I'll never eat pasta again. Mommy, take care of my little brother. Mommy, hold me. Mommy, I remember your last kiss. Why did they fail me? Mom, thanks for putting on my shorts and hanging around. Remember the trip to the Franklin Museum? Why is my heart beating so fast? Why can't I breathe? I love to dance. And I'll never dance again. I will never see. I will never even talk. I'm proud to be a Slaughter. Mommy, 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 Mommy.
If that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what does. The last element of the Musmanno Award is scholarship. Tom began as a 6th grade teacher, and there's something about teachers, as Hillary knows, because they change this world one child at a time. And Tom Klein has been changing this world one client at a time. He got his master's thesis and almost a PhD, except for the second rewrite of the dissertation. Actually has more history credits than law school credits. He's taught trial advocacy. And so he has been a scholar and a teacher his whole life. But some people talk the talk and other people walked the walk. And Tom Klein decided, I'm not just going to talk about scholarship, I'm going to do something about it. And in the single greatest gift in Drexel's history, $50 million, we talk about persuaders, John Fry. You might be the best persuader in the entire audience, I might add. And the fourth largest gift to a law school in American history, Tom Klein is creating a new generation and generation after that, which will go and embody the elements that Michael Musmanno stood for and for whom this award symbolizes. In the basement tapes, in One Man's Loss, Dylan writes about loss and gain. Giving this speech is one of the great honors of my legal career. And I've suffered loss and gain. 11 years ago, I lost an older brother who died suddenly of a heart attack. But into my life came someone who was an older brother figure and a mentor. And that person is Tom Klein. Tom Klein is the greatest trial lawyer of our generation, and maybe the first to be able to say that we can say that since Andrew Hamilton more than 250 years ago. But despite being the greatest trial lawyer of our generation and one of America's greatest lawyers, he's greater at other things. I see the twinkle in his eye when he talks about Zach and Hillary, and the twinkle in his eye when he talks about Britt, and the twinkle in his eye when he talks about those 3 grandchildren. And he is a man of kindness and compassion and love. He is our greatest attorney and trial attorney, but he is an even greater father, soulmate, colleague, and friend. So that I ask that you join me in welcoming our generation's greatest lawyer and the 2016 recipient of the Michael A. Musmanno Award, Tom Klein.